manipulate it a little better than other animals, but we didn't create fire.
Well, manipulating and controlling, that's after the fire is made. So I guess I should say what would be the correct term?
Well, we're able to manipulate fire or to initiate a fire. But what I'm saying is,
okay, initiate. That's a good word.
But that's just a further adaptation of being able to use it, right?
And so it says online they either use like Flintstones or sticks to do it.
Yeah.
Now, no one gave them that knowledge to you. You know how many stones and rocks?
Trial and error. There you go. Good point. They didn't know. They just kept trying stuff. Same way you learn most stuff.
Trying stuff to do what? How would they even know? How would they even know that they are able?
I'm a monkey and ain't got shit else to do. I'm just playing with rock, right? I don't have to know that if I'm playing in grass with rocks and I'm doing this with it, and I make a spark and that spark catch some grass, I get fire. I don't have to know that for it to happen.
Because I'm a monkey. All right, but you said a monkey, and monkeys don't pass on. Matter of fact, monkeys don't need fire, and then they wouldn't even pass on that knowledge to the next of theirs.
Why wouldn't they?
Because they don't need fire.
I was making a joke about the monkey part, but I'm saying, why wouldn't monkeys pass on that information?
Because they don't need fire to survive.
That's fire specifically, but I was joking about the monkey part.
Smart person would just keep banging two rocks together. Why would they do that?
What else they was gonna do? Get on the internet?
Why would they do that?
Why wouldn't they do it?
And it's two Flintstones. Out of all the rocks,
I can do this with any two rocks, or I can do this with any two rocks. They just happen to be talking about Flintstones because that's what they found. But this can happen with any two rocks. And why wouldn't they pass that information along?
No, they would. But the fact that they're banging two rocks is really
what else
really
were they going to do? Keep in mind, they shaped tools out of rocks. The way they were shaping tools was banging rocks together. We know that Homo habilis and Homo erectus use stone tools. They shape them with other stones.
I can agree with that, but
Okay, so as you're shaping them with other stones, you might get a spark.
how would they know that spark even creates a
Probably
fire?
didn't know that. This is what they didn't have to know. If you spark it too close to the grass is gonna catch whether I know it or not. But once I realized, hey, if I spark this close to the grass like this, the grass catches. Now I can use that information.
All right, man. You're making a good case, but
I'm trying to see the flaw in the case. If I'm shaping stones out of stone, right, to make tools, and we know they made tools. We've been using tools since Homo habilis, right? So if I'm okay, keep in mind Homo habilis lived thousands of years before Homo erectus. Okay, all right. So if for thousands of years people just been shaping stones, they probably been getting the spark, but they just didn't know what to do with it. Okay. Eventually somebody put it a little too close to the grass, and the grass caught fire. And they thought, oh, this is nice. I should do that again. Hey guys, come check this shit out. That's warm. Toasty. Like that shit. When it gets cold, we should do this.
you make a good point, man. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I thought you could only do that with flintstones, not any stone.
You can literally do that with any stone. You could take 2 rocks right now. I don't know if you ever were a Boy Scout, but you can do that with sticks. You can do it with stones. You just need something that's dry that you can get a bunch of friction in and get some heat.
All right, man.
Yeah. The only reason why you can't do it with your hands is because your hand got too much moisture. But if your hands were dry, fire. If I can bring the heat, yeah. But so that's not like some magic or anything. I don't have to know how that works for that to work. Yeah, I don't have to know how that works for that to work. But once it works, I can remember it, right? And I think the weird thing that I think that comes up to me about this, and I'm gonna let you go because I got a little time, but I'm gonna let you go because I got to move it to the next person. The weird thing that comes up about this is, for some reason, people spend their whole life studying this shit, like their whole life studying, submitting for peer review, getting tested time and time again. Hypothesis, blah, blah, blah. And then one day, somebody just wake up and go, they wrong, because I don't get it. Not having gone to the school, not having studied the thing, not having read the papers, that don't make sense to me. What you do for a living?
I'm in the Air Force.
You're in the Air Force, okay. What if I told you, man, the Air Force is stupid because I don't know how to fly planes. I don't get how planes fly. It don't make sense to me that planes could fly. So I just don't. No, that's not real. That can't be real because I don't understand how they fly. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be
crazy, right? Now, if I went through the Air Force training, I would understand the Air Force better, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Same thing is true here, bro. And I'm not saying trust anybody. I'm saying you could just go learn what they learned.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you need a tree for a seed, then how did the seed even get there? Because you said that it starts from a seed and then it turns to a tree, but
you assume that it starts. Okay. Let me try to say this one more time. All right. The one thing I need you to assume, and it's the only one thing I need you to assume, and you can tell me I can't make that assumption, and I'll accept that. The one thing I need you to assume is that every living thing wants to survive. It's doing whatever it can to survive. Can we accept that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's say I get the first germination of a grass. Unseeded, just chemically little bitty hairs of grass. They're not blades of grass, just this little first thing that we can call a grass based on the chemical compounds that make it up in the dirt. Does that make sense?
What? So you're saying it's a chemical?
Yes, everything around you is chemical. There's nothing around you right now that isn't chemical. You are chemical.
So this chemical is in the dirt, is what you're saying?
Chemicals in the dirt. biological chemicals in the dirt.
Okay.
Okay, that starts to make these little hairs of grass. Now, those little hairs of grass want to survive, right? And so they're taking in sunlight, right? They're growing a bit. They're learning the nutrients from the earth are helping it grow. Carbon and carbon dioxide is coming in. It's growing, right? Now, unbeknownst to it, it's growing, it's surviving. Well, as it begins to germinate, the next seed, or the next thing grows up. Now, at first, it's not seeds because seeds are hard. Right. So seeds have gone through a process of learning, of kind of adapting to the harder ones are the ones that live. The softer ones don't live. Right. So as those seeds, they get hard because, again, it came from a harder seed. It's adapting. Okay. So eventually I started to get grass that we know of as grass, but it didn't start out as just grass. It started out as a little bit. Right? But it was adapting. Right? For example, I give you a really, really good example. You know what tree really shouldn't be here?
What?
Avocados. You know why avocados shouldn't be here?
Why you say that?
Because most trees germinate by animals eating the seeds and spitting. Right? But avocado seeds are too big. Right? But do you know if humans hadn't come to keep avocados around, avocados wouldn't be here?
Nah, I didn't know that.
No way of naturally procuring itself. Okay?
So you're saying this chemical in the dirt it made grass, and then another chemical in the dirt it made trees. This other chemical made other vegetation.
Trees come from grass. A tree is just a tall grass. They're literally related. But certain grasses started to adapt. Oh, the harder I get, the more I can withstand the wind. Because I'm growing too tall, right? So you start to use that collagen to be harder and harder. It's adapting to its surroundings. That's it. But a tree is just a grass.
Okay. So this chemical in the dirt, you're saying these chemicals in the dirt, you're just saying the universe made these chemicals?
Well, most of the chemicals that we have here on Earth came from the sun. Okay, so the sun is a bunch of hydrogen that collected together because of gravity. Does that make sense?
Why do we only have one sun and not like 10 suns like in Star Wars?
It's a trillion suns in the universe.
No, like in our solar system. Why do we only have one sun?
Because stars make planets. So a star tends to have its own solar system. Right, because the planets come from that star. There are solar systems with more than one sun, but our solar system started from one star. Right? Again, hydrogen starts to come together, it collects together because of gravity, so it gets packed in really, really tight. It starts to get hot, and then those hydrogen atoms merge together and become helium atoms. But helium is just two hydrogens kind of pressed together. But helium is unstable, so it breaks back apart. It keeps smashing together, breaking apart, smashing together, breaking apart. Eventually, you go from being helium to some heavier things, right? Because a bunch of them get smashed together, and they make something like oxygen, which is 8 of those hydrogen atoms mashed together. Then they keep smashing together, breaking apart, keep smashing together. The sun, because they're still being pulled in by the gravity. But they got their own mass, so they don't get too close. Okay, all right. So they get a mass and they start.
Yeah.
Right.
I get it.
So all the chemicals on Earth used to be the sun.
But would you say that this solar system, other solar systems were made out of chaos?
The laws of physics are not chaotic.
But
what would be chaotic about physics?
Well,
it wouldn't be chaos if I could describe it to you. I just described how it happened. That's not chaotic.
I don't understand how you get Earth, but you don't get the same Earth from the on these other, like Mars isn't like Earth, Venus isn't like Earth.
Keep in mind. Okay, if you ever notice, the rocky planets are closer to the sun. That makes sense, right? The heavier, more dense planets are closer to the sun. As you get away from the sun, they become less and less dense. They become more gas planets, right? Am I making sense? So as this explosion happened, the more dense things stayed closer because they were heavier. The gases went further out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but why is our planet so special?
Well, our planet just happened to sit in the habitable zone, just where we happen to fall, right? We happened to fall third rock away from the sun, so we were in a good habitable zone so that we could get liquid water. It wasn't too hot for liquid water. It wasn't too cold to make it ice because of where we sit in the density.
And
Does that make sense? No?
a Big Bang is chaos,
That's
though.
not a Big Bang. And the Big Bang is not chaos. How is that chaos? It follows the laws of physics. It's not chaotic. If
I'm
it was
saying-
chaotic, we couldn't describe it.
What I'm saying is that there's too much order for, because an explosion.
Who said something exploded? Who said something exploded?
That's what the Big Bang is, and
That's not what the Big Bang is. It's the expansion of space-time. Nothing exploded. And again, I'm asking you this. Keep in mind,
it just be okay? Mars is closer to the sun, but there's just not different people who can live in that
it's
temperature.
too hot on Mars. It's too hot.
That's what I'm saying. How come there's not people that can?
Because the laws of physics didn't allow for such. You're asking why the laws of physics are the way they are?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that I don't know. They just exist as proof facts, as far as I know. Why does gravity move at the speed it moves? I don't know. It's just the way it moves.
That doesn't make sense. That you don't question that?
No. People are questioning that right now. We just found out about graviton, so now we know a little bit more about gravity than we knew. We're still.
Let's say we do live in a habitable zone. Okay, that's fine. But the fact that there's no other beings on different planets that can survive that temperature, or no other trees on different planets that can survive that temperature,
Let me ask
that
you a
does
question.
not make any sense.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say that there were beings on other planets that could survive.
Not how it is, though.
That's not how it is, right? So, in other words, what you're saying is because I don't understand how it is, thus God. That's
Exactly, because it doesn't make like it. No, it should happen that way. If we're on this planet, there should be other people on other
No, there
planets.
shouldn't. That would violate the laws of physics.
How?
Because heat is a thing. You need water to live. If it's too hot to make water, you're not gonna make life.
Okay, I can see that.
Right. Okay. There is no water on Mars. There is no water. it's too hot, it would evaporate. Earlier you said the laws of physics. If there were no laws of physics, God could do it alone. Without a law of physics.
No, I'm saying God
could
made.
be chaotic. It could totally be chaotic.
But you can't make a mess. There's no mess being made if there's no intelligence.
Okay, so then chaos is intelligence and order is intelligence. I'm telling you to pick a side. You can't say that the order is the proof. If you can say that the chaos can be, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I didn't say nothing made order. I'm saying God.
It would take in your messy house, in that example, it took an active. That you made, you said a messy house, a chaotic house.
But this universe isn't chaotic though.
Okay, then why did you bring up a house? Oh, that's not a good example then. Great. Let's come back to the order. If in your house, gravity pulled all your clothes together. If gravity straightened up your kitchen.
Okay.
If gravity straightened up your bedroom, right? Okay. That's not an active mind. That's gravity.
Correct.
Okay. That does not require an active mind. That's how gravity works.
Well, what do you mean? You talking about
if in your house gravity pulled all your dirty clothes together? If in your house gravity pulled all your dishes into the sink? If in your house, you get what I'm saying? That would be the force of gravity, not the active mind cleaning it up.
Right, but gravity doesn't do that.
Gravity pulls atoms together and makes suns. Suns make nuclear fusion. The pressure from the gravity makes things fuse together. Those fusions make other elements, heavier elements. Those heavy elements hit the center of the sun because of the gravitational pull. That causes the sun to expand and blow up. That shoots off the disk accretions. Those disk accretions then find a massive gravity themselves and make planets that did not require a brain. We're watching watching stars form in the James Webb Telescope. Right now, we're watching the formation of stars. We do not see a God.
So you're saying gravity is basically created the majority of what we see, like in the universe.
Gravity is one of the 4 fundamental forces. There are 4 forces in the universe: gravity, electromagnetic, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. Those 4 forces are responsible for everything you see in the universe.
But none of them have intelligence.
Not one of them has intelligence.
Yeah, that's what I can't grasp. Like, how can a non-intelligent thing know what to do?
Have you ever seen a single cell organism? You ever seen one, like an amoeba or something?
Isn't it programmed to do what it's supposed to do?
It's not programmed. It's not programmed. It just does. It's not a program. It just does what it does. There's no program. It just does what it does. The laws of physics just do what they do. If I drop this lighter, it's going to fall. There's no program to that.
Okay, so do we do just what we do?
Say what now? Ask that question one more time.
Okay, as a matter of fact, if an animal kills another animal, there is no prison that's going to be taking place. There's no. The only repercussion would be another animal, like gangs. Another animal just kill another animal, and just going like for revenge. But there is no punishment.
It depends on the social construct of those animals. Some animals will exclude their animal and say, "Hey, I don't want you in the tribe anymore. Get out." Some animals will kill that animal. Some animals don't. They're different. They have different cultural setups. So it's not just that one animal. Different animals do different things. But are you saying that animals have a prison system? Okay, we the only animal with a prison system. But we also don't have 8 legs. Some animals have 8 legs. We don't. Like, okay, so we're different. What are we? What are we making?
Well, hey man, it was nice talking to you. It was a great conversation.
Bro, I appreciate you. As always, come chat to me again, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, my buddy. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see who's left. It's been fun today. We got to talk some good science. And most time we won't even get to talk science, so that was fun. Yo.
Man, I didn't even realize I was still in the box. Making fire wave before. Plus, there's lava, there's lightning, there's meteorite striking. Like, they saw fire and captured it and tamed it. And I mean, that's just so amazing to me.
Right. The brush fires, lots of different kinds of fires that we can experience, right? So that we get a chance to practice with it, and then before we actually use it, right?
And like, what can we do with this? What can we do with this?
What can we? Right.
Yeah, I love it. Hey man,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I work at a place called the Planetary Society. We do like space stuff. I love listening to your. I just found your thing recently here, man, and you're super cool, dude. I'm all with you. So I'll step down and let the next person get up. But I just want to say hey and show you that fire phone.
And fire phone really made my day, as a matter of fact. So thank you for showing me, my man.
Take care.
All right. Let me see that dog. I like it when the heat goes. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You see what I just did right there? I like it when the heat goes. You see what I did? You see what I did? All right. Y'all hate it. Y'all hate on that. That was good. That was actually good. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all hate. I'm gonna let y'all do it though. I thought that was good. Fuck y'all. I thought that was pretty good. Okay. See if this person comes up. I know people been waiting. Oh, by the way, are there any topics that y'all would like to discuss? Because I just wake up in the morning and just be like, let's talk about this. But is there anything y'all want to talk about? Because I want to talk about what y'all want to talk about. I'm just bringing up topics that come to my head. And we got so far off of if angels and demons were real, which was weird to me, but organic core. All right, maybe both of them gonna time out. All right. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up, right? The Holy Spirit giving me topics is wild. Okay, all right. In my wrap up, this is what I'm gonna say today. I am a firm believer that a lot of times we say things, especially when it comes to quote unquote spiritual things. And what I learned today is that most of the people who came up here and talked to me about a spiritual world, what they really were saying was that this is a world that lives inside their mind. In other words, this is, somebody said the origin of morality. What is that? Okay. Tell me why you said that, and then I want to talk about it. Okay. So basically, they're saying that this is a world that lives inside their mind. Now, people might believe different things about what lives inside their mind. They might think that, hey, things start out in, okay, yeah. Okay, as a topic, okay, we can talk about that. The origin of morality, we can talk about that. Right, but this is something that lives inside their mind, and in their mind, they have created these creatures. They've given them shapes. But they've imagined them, and they imagine them to bring them thoughts, which is kind of weird because, like the guy, the theologian earlier who said that angels bring thoughts, which means that you don't really get your own thoughts. You're kind of like a car that's being driven by some angel brains, which is weird. That's kind of weird, but and not saying that that's not the case. Just saying, okay, let's look more into that. I noticed that whenever I try to drill down on one topic, people like to move and tell me something else, and that's not how we deduce things. We have to stick on the same thing. I need to understand that concept before I can start adding concepts to it. Right? When I was talking to the brother earlier who was telling me that we all do what Jesus did, and I kept saying, well, Jesus beat people up. And then he said, no, you're not supposed to beat people up. But when I was trying to get him to explain to me, he said, well, Jesus said do other things. Okay, Jesus did say do other things. But that has nothing to do with walking as Jesus walked. Jesus beat people up. Right? So in other words, I'm trying to get us to get down to a logic, a mode of logic that we can apply to all things. Right? Without having to use these special pleadings and things like that. Now, give me just 1 second. Without having to use these special pleadings and things like that. Otherwise, we don't. What up with it, bro? Otherwise, we don't necessarily know a thing. Right? In order to know it, we gotta. Right. So, but in order to know the thing, we got to boil it down to that thing. Right. Speaking of, he had hands, right? Let me lay hands on you quickly. Right. But that kind of leads me to the idea of morality. Right. My problem with someone saying that they get their morality from God is that God can tell people what to do. Right? That's my only problem. Right? If we were saying specifically, right, like God can tell somebody, hey, tell that person don't go to the hospital, just believe on me and I'm going to heal them. Right? And a person can really believe God told them that, and they can give that advice to somebody, and that person end up dying because God told them. You see what I'm saying? And once you tell me God told you something, there's nothing I can do to argue that. Right? Hey, okay. If If that's what you believe, then that's how you're gonna live. You feel what I'm saying? So that makes morality very, very subjective to what the person hears. I cannot know what is right or wrong if there is a God that's making things right or wrong, because that God can change its mind whenever it wants. Right? Just like it changed its mind from the Old to the New Testament, there's nothing to say that it didn't change its mind again today. Unless you're saying that God cannot change. Well, we know God can change his mind. So how do you know when God changes his mind? How would you know that? I would have no way of knowing if God changed his mind or not. That's all I would know is that you said God changed his mind. How would I know if that was true? Right? And if you're saying Jesus came to change the mind of God, well, that means people can change God's mind, or God can change his mind, right? And just like people in West Africa didn't know Jesus was on the planet when he showed up, Jesus could be on the planet right now, changing God's mind right now, and I just don't know it. Right? So again, once I put my morality outside of human beings, once I make it some nebulous thing, then I have no idea what is moral. Right? I have no idea what is moral. I don't know. I cannot make a moral judgment. I cannot make a mental judgment if you're saying that my thoughts don't even originate in my mind. They come from angels that gave it to me. Well, how do I know if it's the right thing to do? How do I know if that, right? How would I know if that's the right thing to do? Right? So what we end up doing while in our brains we are saying, hey, this is what makes life right. What we're really doing logically is making life far more confusing, which is why I have to ask so many times on a live, how do we know that? That's why I got to ask that so many times. How do we know that? All right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me today. I probably won't be back again until Monday. I'm going to try to do this during the week. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me today, man. I hope y'all have a good day, man. If you don't follow me, blah, blah, blah. You know,
People are buying like 10,000 units for 200 rand or 300 rand. So as we debate this issue, let's also consider that and try to explain as to what extent could that be part of the problem. Kwaito says it's happening everywhere, meaning even here where we stay, where you think people are doing things properly, they are buying that electricity. So to what extent is that part of the problem? I'm sure half of the people on this live, if not everybody, know about that. So let's also think about that. Jack also says it's everywhere. So the problem is bigger. It's bigger than we may think. Christopher?
Yes, thanks, Brother Denman. Brother Denman, I've read some information, I think, early on. I'm not too sure. Is this lady missing? Is she out? Are they looking for this lady?
I don't know. I know that she was part of Andrew the Raider's team that also did their own investigation. Remember that bombshell investigation that Andrew the Raider dropped on national TV?
Yes.
And then it was also published by the newspapers. This lady was part of that investigation. Remember, she was the head of security at ESCOM, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
so
yes.
We've also had sometime, I think a few weeks back or a month back, SAPS, I think, did indicate in one of the parliamentary hearings that they were investigating her. But as to what extent, they could not tell us. Up until this week, when there were WhatsApp conversations that surfaced that specifically spoke about sabotage. Hence, when I started the line, I asked if are those WhatsApp messages genuine? Because if they are genuine, she should be in jail by now. And if they are genuine and she knows that they are genuine, definitely she's going to be missing in action. But again, those are just allegations. We are not saying it's a fact. These are just news that are out there in the public.
Okay. Yeah, you see, my fear is, Braden, when these people are looting the country on this level, or they are involved, or they are maybe the main witness that can maybe link and point out, other top people in politics, you see?
Yes.
There's a tendency for these people to somehow just disappear out of the country. They are just missing, And we're going to watch our law enforcement agencies very closely because they were very active for the Thabo Bester issue to arrest him and his girlfriend or his wife, the doctor.